Good evening, everyone. We'll just walk up the stairs and try and stay in the light because all the lights have gone out, but it's kind of a quiet air to Carrow Road, obviously, at the moment, which wouldn't have been like that. The place would have probably still been shaking if you'd all been here tonight, and it's all been said, of course, but you were all very much missed on what was a thoroughly enjoyable night, a thoroughly enjoyable game of football, especially at this level, and a remarkable night for Norwich City. They've gone 10 points clear at the top of the Championship thanks to a 1-0 victory over Brentford. Thomas Frank, I don't think he really fully appreciated probably how his comments about there not being an outstanding team in the division would go down with some. I certainly found them in the back of my head going into today's game. And in fairness, he said them at a time when Norwich were tripping up, and you could probably look at the table and see it in that way. And I think Daniel Farke said that himself today, but it was clearly in the back of his mind as well. It's a little thread in the piece I'm writing off the back of the site, but he was clearly aware of it. And in this pursuit of Norwich trying to be a better team than they were last year, even at a different level, those things matter, as does coming up against a team who are very, very good at Championship level. I've said it a few times, I'll reiterate it now. There is a gulf, I think, between the quality that Watford, Bournemouth, Brentford, Swansea and Norwich have. There are ebbs and flows behind them. I think Cardiff are a very robust side and they've got an experienced manager, and you can see how that form has just absolutely clicked for them. Barnsley are flying, are an incredibly difficult team to play against. But in terms of established quality and whether they mismanage that is a different matter, they are the standouts. And that was a proper game today. I thought it was captivating to watch. You could see how they were trying to do it. Norwich gave Brentford a little bit of time and space because they just did not want them playing the ball through them. So they didn't really press them. And certainly on the back line, which was interesting because in the first minute, it did take probably Norwich 15 minutes, 20 minutes to maybe get to grips with that, because there were one or two times when Brentford did play these vertical passes straight through, and they're very good at having the runners, probably helped by their shape, but also knowing where to be, so that they're suddenly running at you. And Norwich's back four, for the first time in a long time, was quite exposed on occasions in that first half. Didn't really happen other than maybe at the start of the second half. After that, Norwich got to grips with it, and certainly taking the lead on 26 minutes helped. A wonderful goal. It was, I remember, probably 5 to 10, 20 seconds maybe before it, Norwich won the ball off Brentford while they had it quite high, Brentford, and it just gave Norwich a real opportunity to transition and to really turn Brentford around and get them scrabbling back. It felt like a key moment. They only came around once or twice, but because Brentford were pretty solid in how they'd set up, those moments were absolutely key. And fair play to Emi Buendia. I mean, again, Brentford stepped off him completely, and they did that a couple of times, and they probably regret that. It was a wonderfully cool finish from the best player in the Championship this season, and a man who, every time someone comes up to me and says, yeah, but he'll go in the summer, won't he? My heart sinks a little bit, because I don't really know how you replace him. And he has a wonderful link with Teemu Pukki, obviously. And Teemu had his chances. I think it's interesting again that Daniel Farke has basically said that Teemu in a big game at a higher level has to take the chances that he got, or at least one of them, because he had two glorious chances. Raya made good saves. I think the one where Teemu was through just on the brink of half time, if he takes the shot early or takes it round Raya, then he creates a much better goal scoring opportunity. Instead he tried to dink it. Raya stood tall and ended up keeping his arm out, and it was a really good save, but Teemu could have done something else to probably have made it better, an opportunity for himself. So there's a degree of responsibility there, but it was just a poor decision rather than poor execution necessarily. But I think it was really interesting because Brentford did have a lot of, I hope I haven't been saying that all night, Brentford did have a lot of good opportunities and good build-up, but actually Norwich defended their box really, really well throughout. Ivan Toney only had one shot at the end and one cross earlier on in the half, but again, Norwich, I thought Gibson and Hanley defended the box very well, as did Ollie Skip and Kenny McLean, who again just outstanding in the form of his life. I think he said that himself almost. And protecting that such a key area with Brentford ultimately, because as long as you're stopping them from shooting, someone like Sergi Canos taking shots and things, then you just need to protect yourself in the box from Ivan Toney, because that's clearly where he's so strong. A bit like what teams tried to do with Timu Pukki as well. So, Norwich protected their box really well, and they did ultimately stop the leading scorers in the division from, I think, having a single shot on target, and the leading scorer by a country mile really having a proper sniff on goal. It bodes very well. I like that a lot. They've obviously got to play Watford here and Bournemouth here in April, and they will be keenly thought of in terms of how Norwich deal with those threats as well. But this was a wholly encouraging night for all sorts of reasons. Said Thomas Frank, basically off the back of him saying there was no outstanding team, came out tonight and said he thinks Norwich are promoted. He even went a bit over the top and said they'll probably go the rest of the season unbeaten, which at that point you're like, well, calm yourself down, Thomas. And to be fair to Daniel Farke is like, he doesn't really care, and he at that point brought up the previous comments from Thomas Frank, so he's not stupid, Daniel Farke. He knows what's going on. But just wonderful to see the quality Norwich put in, and I think sometimes it can be a bit more nervous when you're watching and you're like, what's going to happen here? But actually on reflection and with an objective eye, I think Norwich were excellent and fully deserving of what they got. Winston Reach had been sent off for a second yellow in the second half. I have no idea why it wasn't a yellow. And there was the odd penalty shout late in the second half as Brentford tried to pile on the pressure. But I've got the feeling they were a little bit desperate. I mean, also there was an early free kick where a half a push was given as a foul, and from that point on you'd like, well, every free kick is going to have to be a foul here, isn't it? So Tim Robinson kind of set the bar for what was a free kick at that point, really. So yeah, just an engrossing game, really enjoyable against two really good sides at this level. But I think we also saw why Norwich are now 10 points clear. And I think we all just hope that they keep ticking on, because as soon as they get to 80 points, Daniel Farke can say they're in the playoffs, and then we can start looking ahead to what they could do after that. But they have to keep their heads, really have to keep their heads. And one of the benefits for that, coming up this weekend at least, is that Luton have beaten Norwich twice, and they haven't played them in a proper game yet, to be honest, because they've been missing, 30 players probably over the course of the two games. Nathan Jones said that didn't really matter in the cup game. And they played very well in the league game at Carrow Road, so it will be interesting how they did that. They had a great win at Forest in midweek, so all set up for a really good game on Saturday again. And we'll just take them and tick them off as we go along. I don't really know what else to say. Everyone played really well. Emi Buendia's goal was so coolly taken. He is a class apart. The pass for Temu's chance on half-time was ridiculous, to be honest. And everyone did their bit, I thought. I thought it was a really good all-round performance. I don't think anyone really struggled. I thought Daniel Farke made pretty good changes at pretty good times, and they had decent impacts, and he switched the formation around. And Norwich actually, when they switched to a sort of a 4-3-3, 4-5-1 themselves, I thought they closed the game out really well. And again, that's the sort of thing you want to see, because although there was that right in the last moment, a bit of a harem scarum, I mean, you're probably always going to get that. And as I said, Norwich defended their box pretty well. So on we go to Luton. I'm going to move on myself, have a look at the Athletic for the rest of the week. There'll be some fun stuff on there. The Norwich City quiz, by the way, all the questions are on there if you want to take part in those two. I'll see you back down here at Carrow Road on Saturday. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. Thank you so much for all your time. Leave your comments, questions. I'll go through them all. Thank you for subscribing. Have a lovely rest of the week, and try not to stare at the table for too long. You might go blind.